Welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to train like a Spartan, and let me tell you, their workout is probably a lot different than yours. Today, Spartan warriors are still known as the most feared and strongest military force that have ever existed. Their strength of character is some of the most admired amongst men and women. And they're the toughest and most disciplined guys in history. And most of us today don't even come close to a fraction of how they were. It's not necessarily your fault. Some of this is just how we were brought up to live today. One of the biggest reasons for this is the difference in their training. The way a lot of people train today goes a little bit like this. Tell me if this sounds familiar. They sit in a car and go to a nice place indoors away from the rainy or cold weather. They'll start with a light warm-up, either with a soft walk on a treadmill or wave their arms around and legs around too to loosen up from sitting down all day. They'll start the set by sitting in a comfortable seat that lets you push the perfect amount of weight at the most stress-free angle, and they'll do around 10 to 15 reps until a little bit of discomfort starts to kick in. Then they'll rest for about a minute and repeat that 3 times. In the meantime, they might drink a bit of water or a BCAA, and then they'll just go hit a new muscle around the same way and stop around the 45-minute mark before they get too exhausted. Then they'll get back in their car, drive home to relax, and eat their perfectly planned out meals where they counted the perfect amount of macronutrients and calories they need to gain or lose weight. And then 1 to 2 days later, they'll come back and repeat a similar pattern with some different exercises. What I just described to you was how we were all taught to train and get results without overtraining our bodies. And we've all been there. It's not necessarily a bad way to train. For many people, this could be just right. But if you're anything like me, you're going to think it's a little bit funny and sad if you're looking at how our ancestors used to move every single day. Imagine this. Instead of driving in a car to go to the gym, they would go run barefoot on the streets to the destination because it builds toughness and callus on your feet. You have to learn to embrace the pain because it might cost you your life. Then in the scorching heat, freezing cold, rain, or snow, you're outside in the wilderness because you have to get used to all the different conditions since you need to have experience with each one of them. Sometimes they don't even warm up because what if you suddenly need to use maximum effort in life, in a life-threatening situation, and you don't have time to? They'll start their training and there are no seats, no machines, no optimally engineered dumbbells or barbells, just some big clunky rocks, trees, and maybe open land, maybe some rope. Your armor, heavy armor, and your peers to practice and compete against. Your angles aren't optimal, you aren't hitting any specific body part, but rather a set of skills that you want to improve, or simply to test your mental resistance. You're putting yourself in compromising situations and they're going beyond failure. If you rest, you're ashamed by your peers, and there is no water or fancy drinks to keep you anabolic during your workouts. You aren't counting reps, sets, and you don't wait until discomfort kicks in to stop. Instead, you seek maximal discomfort because that's when the workout starts. And you're putting yourself through maximal pain by any means in order to toughen your spirit. Training sessions can last anywhere between 45 minutes to even a few days. Time is of no concern, only perfection. And if you stop, you're either ashamed and out of a job, or you're left out there to die because you're just too weak and therefore useless and are considered a danger to your friends and family. After that, you march back home where you're given the smallest amount of food, if any, just so that you can get used to survive without it for a longer period of time, especially in times of physical exertion. You might even spend days without drinking or eating. You won't be eating any balanced meals, but instead anything that will let you live. And the food is not meant to taste good because pleasurable things bring forth weakness. Same goes with sleep. It's very irregular and often much lower than you actually need. Instead of relaxing for a few days and repeating the same workout, you would maybe train around 2 times a day and be consistently moving throughout the day because you need to overcome overtraining and always be ready. And you might even have to try and provoke a bear or two in order for you to face your fears. To put this into perspective, for Spartans, going to war was the vacation that they're happy to go on because their training was that much harder and scarier. A little different, right? And I spared a lot of the hazing and cultural aspects that were present in that time, but that's kind of how Spartans trained. Ultimately, this is the difference between the training of an athlete and of a warrior. One tries to set up their environment to be as optimal as possible, and the other one tries to work on himself to be as adaptable as possible to their environment. Both of them are difficult, and both of them can lead to amazing results. So now, how do you put this in practice? You're probably saying to yourself, this sounds like one of those stories your grandpa used to tell you about how hard it was for him to make his way to school every morning. Yeah, I gotta admit, it does sound kind of like that. Now, I can probably give you some specific sets or reps to do with some crazy exercises, but you're not ready for this yet. What you're ready for is the main goal of this training style. If you can make everything a little more uncomfortable for yourself, meaning just don't be lazy, then you would start to train like a Spartan would and be on your way to looking like them a little more. What does this mean? This means embracing the harder aspects of life because it does not only make you grateful for the world of abundance that you're living in, but you prepare yourself for the worst, making everything else a little bit easier for you. Example, you can start going to failure during your workouts. Force those muscles to grow. Go see where your limits are. It will humble you, trust me. And yes, even on leg day. Try to avoid easy to get and overly tasty comfort food. Just by eating more bland type foods like fruits and vegetables, your palate is going to change and you might even get sick of the other junk. Besides, do you really think a Spartan warrior would ruin his hard work with a Big Mac combo? Didn't think so. I might sound like your grandma a little bit, but sit up and stand straight. Walk or bike instead of driving. Stop snacking. Wake up earlier. Purposefully put yourself in uncomfortable situations and face your fears. All of these things make life a little bit harder, yet they put you in the mindset of a warrior, which is where the heart of this workout comes from. Because without their mindset, you can't train like them or look like them. It doesn't sound like a workout, I know, but these changes will help you more right now than if I gave you a program. And once you can do this and not complain, you'll be ready and I will give you the program later on. Alright, so if you like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can also comment below what you think a Spartan workout would look like. And thank you very much for your support.